What's up guys? Welcome back to my channel. My name's Stephanie and you are watching Newlightpets. I'm an exotic pet keeper, a certified herpetologist, and just an overall animal lover. For today's video, I'm going to be introducing you guys to all of my adopted rescue pets. I have adopted a lot of animals over the years and I am a huge advocate for rescue. I spend a lot of time being a board member for a local reptile rescue. So it is definitely something I really advocate for. There's just so many benefits on both ends. So I just wanted to share the animals that I've rescued over the years and kind of share their story as well. All right, so the first friend I'm going to introduce you to is my friend Maynard here. He is a ball python. I rescued him probably a little over a year and a half ago. Of all my rescues, I really feel like Maynard has probably the saddest story. Maynard was found on the side of the road in a literal trash bag. He was starving, very, very, very thin. He was covered in burns and different wounds, and then was taken to a reptile rescue, which is where I adopted him. He was still pretty underweight when I got him and had a lot of injuries still that I had to maintain with medication, but he was always very strong-willed, and despite all the abuse that he endured, he is truly the sweetest snake. He's never struck at me, he's never bit, he's always had this very calm, amazing temperament. He's truly my favorite reptile, honestly. Don't tell the others that, but he is one of my favorite pets and I have a really special bond with this guy. He really came a long way after I adopted him. He became a really, really great eater. Has rarely ever missed a meal. He is great with handling. Even my children handle him and he is just the sweetest boy. As you can see, Maynard is a normal ball python, and with my experience working in a reptile rescue, these guys are constantly winding up in rescues. Because ball pythons are just overly bred, just mass produced, so that they can create, you know, the newest, hottest morph. The normals just become essentially worthless and people don't want them anymore because there's a cooler looking ball python out on the market. So it's really messed up in my opinion, and a lot of these guys need homes. So if you are ever considering getting a ball python, I highly recommend adopting one of these guys because there are so many of them. Maynard is about 5 or 6 years old according to our vet, but it's really hard to tell age with a ball python. But he is likely full grown and he is just absolutely gorgeous in my opinion. When I first brought Maynard home, he was very weak. It seemed like he was just truly exhausted, and he honestly spent a lot of time after he had adjusted to his habitat. I started just taking him out and he would literally just lay on my chest on the couch. He didn't have a lot of energy to move around, but you know, it was really, really heartbreaking, but I just instantly fell in love with him. He is just so special to me. Okay, my next rescue pet that I'm going to share with you is Aussie, my blue-tongued skink. As you can see, she's a little bit of a fussy girl. I also did just wake her up, so I feel a little bit bad about that. But I adopted her about 10 months ago. She was found on Craigslist and came from a person wanting to rehome her because he said he didn't like her appearance. So likely she was being used probably for a breeding project and he decided not to use her. However, it's really apparent that she was not being properly taken care of. She has really, really messed up toes, as you can see. Her digits are actually curved backwards and therefore is not able to naturally trim down her nails. So I'm thinking she was maybe kept in like a small tub or something like that. We did obviously take her to the vet after I adopted her, and our vet said that she would have to be brought in to have her nails trimmed basically for the rest of her life because she's not going to ever be able to naturally trim down those fingernails. So very, very sad. Also, when I adopted Aussie, she was very, very defensive, very, very scared, would bite, hiss. We have come a long way. She obviously lets me handle her now. I love her so much. I think she's so beautiful, and it makes me so sad that she had such terrible care. I'm really not entirely sure what her age is. The person that I rescued her from said she was 2, but it's really honestly hard to say because he obviously wasn't fully transparent about a lot of things with her. But other than that, Aussie is in pretty good shape, but she will need special treatment for the rest of her life because of her damaged fingers. Okay, so the next rescue animal that I'm introducing you to is Dorito, my crested gecko. She is about 10 years old. I adopted her from the rescue that I am now on the board for. I got her last summer, and she was simply just a surrender. Somebody had her for a long time and then was no longer able to take care of her. And that's when I got her. She's not very big into handling, but that's okay. I think she is just the cutest little thing, and I love going and spying on her at nighttime when she's the most active. She is obviously a bit older, but crested geckos can live at least 15 years, so she definitely has a lot of life left in her. She does have a little froggy butt, so she dropped her tail way before I ever adopted her. But this is a Dorito. I wish she would turn around for you guys again, but she is on a mission. Okay, so a non-reptile adopted pet is my girl Silver here. She just walked in the room, so I felt like it was a good time to introduce her. We rescued her as a kitten, and she is about 2 years old now. She is a little pain in the butt, but we love her so much. We actually have 2 other rescue cats as well. I love cats so much. I just think they are just the funniest creatures, and I relate to them in a lot of ways. I'm not going to show you all of them today because a couple of them are off sleeping and hiding, but Silver is one of our rescue cats. I will, however, show you pictures of my other 2. This is Magic. We rescued her as an adult, and then Kion also rescued him when he was about a year old. So those are my rescue felines. All right, another non-reptile rescue is my dog Henry. He is, I don't even know how old. I've had him for over 12 years. He was not a puppy when I rescued him, so he's probably coming up on 14 years old, not entirely sure. But as you can see, he's got his little old man gray face. But he is a super ham, my oldest child, and I love him so much, even though he's got stinky breath. Huh, buddy? Yep, but he is a really, really good dog. He's getting a little bit grumpier in his old age, but that's okay. We're gonna spoil him anyways. Okay, back to the reptiles. Next we have Miss Clementine, my bearded dragon. I have had her for over a year now. She was a rescue that I found on Craigslist. I'll insert some pictures of how she was living prior to her life with me. She was just in like a glass terrarium with no substrate, basically just like one little rock to sit on. She didn't have any UVB, definitely not the proper temperatures for heat, and she was being fed like the pre-made kibble bearded dragon diet. I'll show you guys a picture of that as well, which is just notoriously really bad bearded dragon food, and she was getting occasional mealworms. So she wasn't getting any fresh food whatsoever. She's luckily not shown any signs of MBD, which is just completely so mind-boggling and just so fortunate considering she didn't have any UVB and wasn't getting any proper supplements. She had a pretty bad care regimen before I rescued her. But despite that, she's been to the vet. She doesn't have any other issues going on, and she has been doing really well since we've had her. Absolutely love Clementine. Bearded dragons are just another species that often winds up in rescues. We see them so much there. They're also just mass bred, mass produced. They're also sold in, places like Petco and PetSmart, and people usually don't know what they're signing up for and then decide that this is too much for them, and they end up giving up their bearded dragon. So if you are considering a bearded dragon, make sure you are doing a lot of research. I definitely would not consider them a beginner-friendly reptile. Their diets are very complex. They're needy. They need a lot of enrichment and time out of their enclosure. Their lighting and all that is really essential to their health. But if you do your research and it seems like something that you would want to have, please consider adoption. All right, so the last rescue pets that I am going to introduce you to are Bear and Daisy, my rescue ferrets. They were being rehomed on Craigslist, and we really wanted ferrets. I've always kept ferrets for many years, and it was the right time to have them again in my life. So of course wanted to try and rescue some, and these guys just simply needed to be rehomed because their owners were working a lot more and just didn't have time for them. And as many of you probably know, ferrets are very high maintenance, and they require a lot of time outside of their cages, time to free roam. So I totally understood where their owners were coming from, and they were receiving amazing care. The only thing we really changed with them is I switched them over to a raw diet, which was definitely difficult to do because ferrets imprint on their food as babies, and these guys were fed kibble their whole life. So it was a huge transition to get them to eat raw. It took about a month to get them fully switched over, but now they are doing awesome and their diet is much better, and I just see really good results from that. All right, you guys, well, that's all that I have today for this video. As you can see in the background here, one of my cats knocked over my aloe plant and smashed it all over the floor. So I gotta go clean that up. But until next time, happy pet keeping, and I'll see you guys next week.